Sarah Chen pressed her face against the cold window of the starship and watched the stars change color. The jump drive made space look like rainbow water, twisting and bending until she felt sick. This was her first time leaving Earth, and her stomach did not like it at all. 5 minutes until we reach the station, called out James from the pilot's seat. He was the only one who looked comfortable. The other 3 humans on the ship were all green in the face. Sarah was the captain of this mission, even though she had never been in space before. The Earth government picked her because she was good at talking to people and solving problems. They needed someone who could make friends with aliens without starting a war. The rainbow colors stopped, and normal space came back. In front of them was the biggest thing Sarah had ever seen. The Galactic Council Station looked like a metal city floating in the dark. Thousands of ships moved around it like tiny fish around a whale. "Look at that," whispered Tom, their science officer. "It must be 100 miles across." Sarah nodded but said nothing. She was trying not to throw up. The gravity on the ship was wrong, and everything felt like it was spinning even when it was not. Their radio crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded strange, like a computer trying to be human. "Earth Vessel Endeavour, you are cleared to dock at Bay 94. Please follow the yellow lights. Welcome to Council Space." James guided their ship toward the station. The yellow lights made a path through the traffic. Sarah saw ships of all shapes and sizes. Some looked like silver birds, others like giant eggs. One ship looked like it was made of crystal and light. "Remember what they told us?" Sarah said to her crew. "Be polite. Do not touch anything without asking. And do not mention how we fight wars." The other 3 nodded. Everyone on Earth knew that humans were different from other species in the galaxy. While other planets had oceans and forests and gentle weather, Earth was a nightmare world. Ice ages, volcanoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, and animals that could kill you just by looking at you wrong. Most species in the galaxy came from nice, safe planets where the biggest danger was a sunburn. Humans came from a world that tried to kill them every single day. The docking bay was huge and bright. Robots guided their ship into place and connected, tubes for air and power. Sarah could see aliens working outside through the window. They all wore protective suits as if they were afraid of germs. "Time to make history," Sarah said, trying to sound brave. They put on their best uniforms and walked to the airlock. The door opened with a soft hiss, and they stepped onto the station. The first thing Sarah noticed was the smell. It was too clean, like a hospital that had never seen blood. The second thing she noticed was the gravity. It was lighter than Earth, making her feel like she might float away. 3 aliens waited for them. The first one looked like a tall, thin bird with blue feathers and 4 arms. The second was short and round like a purple ball with legs. The third one looked almost human, except for the silver skin and eyes that had no pupils. "Greetings, humans. From Earth," said the bird-like alien. Its voice was high and musical. "I am Ambassador Kreetak of the Avian Republic. This is Ambassador Blob Gull of the Sphere Worlds and Ambassador Zen of the Silver Union." Sarah stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Captain Sarah Chen, representing Earth and humanity. We are honored to be here." The aliens looked at each other in a way that made Sarah uncomfortable. It was like they were sharing a secret joke. "Yes," said Ambassador Zen, his voice flat and cold. "We have heard much about your world. Tell me, Captain Chen, is it true that your planet has weather, storms that can destroy entire cities?" "Sometimes," Sarah said carefully. "But we have learned to build better houses and warn people when storms are coming." "And is it true," asked Ambassador Blobgull in a voice like jelly, "that your animals hunt each other for food?" "Yes. That is how nature works on Earth." The 3 aliens stepped back a little. Ambassador Kreetak's feathers ruffled. "How terrible," he said. "On my world, all creatures live in harmony. We have no predators, no storms, no violence." Sarah wanted to ask how anything evolved on such a boring planet, but she kept quiet. "Come," said Ambassador Zen. "The Council wishes to speak with you." They walked through corridors that stretched for miles. Everything was white and clean and quiet. Sarah saw hundreds of different aliens, but they all moved slowly and carefully, like they were afraid of breaking something. "Your species is quite unusual," said Ambassador Kretak as they walked. "Most civilizations develop on Class 3 or Class 4 worlds, pleasant places with stable weather and peaceful animals. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world." "What does that mean?" asked Tom. "It means," said Ambassador Blobghoul, "that your planet should have killed you long before you became smart enough to build spaceships." Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's cold air. "But we survived." "Yes," said Ambassador Zen. "That is what worries us." They reached a huge chamber filled with thousands of seats. Most of them were empty, but several hundred aliens sat in groups, all staring at the humans. Sarah felt like a bug under a microscope. A voice boomed through the chamber. "Council Session 47,291 is now in session. We are here to discuss the petition of the species known as humans for provisional membership in the Galactic Council." Sarah straightened her shoulders and walked to the center of the room. This was it. The moment that would decide humanity's future among the stars. But as she looked up at all the alien faces staring down at her, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Many of the aliens looked afraid. Not afraid of war, or disease, or death. They were afraid of her. What had Earth created when it forged humanity in the fires of a death world? And what would happen when the galaxy found out? Far away, beyond the edge of known space, something dark and vast stirred in the emptiness between stars. Ancient machines that had slept for 1,000,000 years began to wake up. They had been waiting for this moment, when the galaxy would finally meet the children of the Death World. The Black Armada was coming, and only the Deathworlders would be ready for what came next. 3 weeks after the humans arrived at the council station, the first message came from the Outer Rim. Sarah was in her assigned quarters trying to understand a food machine that gave her purple soup no matter what buttons she pressed. When alarms started screaming through the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Aliens ran past her door, their faces full of panic. Sarah had never seen aliens move so fast before. Usually they walked like they had all the time in the universe. She found her crew in the human section of the station. James was staring at a news screen that showed a map of the galaxy. Several star systems on the edge were blinking red. "What's happening?" Sarah asked. "We don't know," said Tom, their science officer. "The reports are confusing. Something attacked the Kretak colony on Feather Prime. Then the mining stations in the Sphere World sector went quiet. Now 3 more systems are not answering their calls." Sarah watched the map. More red dots appeared as she looked. Whatever was happening, it was spreading fast. Ambassador Zen appeared on their communication screen. His silver face looked even colder than usual, but Sarah could see fear in his eyes. "Captain Chen, the Council requests your presence in the emergency session. Immediately." The chamber was full of noise when Sarah arrived. Hundreds of aliens were talking at once in dozens of languages. The translation computers could not keep up, so the air was filled with clicking, buzzing, and sounds that hurt her ears. "Order!" shouted the council speaker, a huge creature that looked like a walking tree. "We will hear the reports in sequence." Hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a recording from a damaged ship. Sarah could see an alien pilot covered in blue blood trying to operate broken controls. "This is Captain Ventok of the cargo ship Peaceful Journey," the pilot said in a voice full of fear. "We were leaving Feather Prime when they came out, of nowhere. Black ships moving like nothing I have ever seen. They did not try to talk. They just started killing everything." The image shook as explosions went off around the ship. The colony ships tried to run, but the black ships caught them. Easily. They destroyed everything. Buildings, ships, even the orbital gardens. It was like they wanted to erase all life from the system. The recording cut to static. Another hologram showed a different alien, this one from the Sphere Worlds. She was round and purple like Ambassador Blobghoul, but smaller. The mining platform sent out a distress call, she said, her jelly-like voice shaking. They said the attackers were using weapons they had never seen before. Beams that cut through our strongest shields like they were made of paper. Ships that could change shape in the middle of battle. More recordings followed. Each one told the same story. Black ships appearing without warning, weapons that made no sense, complete destruction of everything they found. Sarah noticed something the aliens did not seem to see. She had grown up watching nature documentaries on Earth. She knew how predators hunted. "Excuse me," she said, standing up. The chamber went quiet. All eyes turned to her. "I have a question about these attacks. Are the black ships taking prisoners? Are they stealing resources? Are they trying to claim territory?" Ambassador Kretak's feathers ruffled. "What does it matter? They are destroying our people." "It matters because it tells us what they want," Sarah said. "On Earth, different predators hunt for different reasons. Some hunt for food, some hunt for territory, some hunt because they enjoy killing." The aliens looked uncomfortable. They did not like thinking about hunting and killing. "What are you suggesting?" asked the council speaker. "I'm suggesting that these attackers are not trying to conquer you. They are not even trying to rob you. They are trying to wipe you out completely. That is a very different kind of war." Dr. Marcus Webb, the human scientist who had come with them, stood up. He had been quiet during most of their time on the station, spending his time in the archives studying galactic history. "Captain Chen is right," he said. "And I think I know what we are dealing with." He activated his own hologram. It showed old star charts and ancient symbols. "I have been studying the oldest records in the council archives. There are stories that go back millions of years. Stories about something called the Black Armada. Most species think they are just myths." The chamber was completely silent now. "According to the stories, the Black Armada appears every few million years. They come from the dark spaces between galaxies. They destroy everything that lives and thinks. Then they disappear again. The stories say they believe that life itself is a mistake that must be corrected." Ambassador Blobgool made a sound like jelly being squeezed. "Those are just old stories. Fairy tales to scare children." "Maybe," said Dr. Webb. "But the attack patterns match perfectly. The Black Armada does not want to rule or steal. They want to clean the galaxy of all organic life." More alarms started ringing. New red dots appeared on the galactic map. The attacks were getting closer to the core worlds. Admiral Granka of the Galactic Fleet stood up. He was a proud alien who looked like a purple bear with 6 arms. "Stories or not, we will stop them," he declared. "The fleet has protected the galaxy for 10,000 years. We have the finest ships, the best weapons, the smartest tactics." Sarah felt a chill. She had read about the Galactic Fleet during the trip to the station. They fought wars like chess games, careful moves, planned, attacks, minimal casualties. It was very civilized. But Earth had taught humanity that sometimes civilization was not enough. "Admiral," Sarah said carefully, "has the fleet ever fought against an enemy that did not follow the rules of war?" Admiral Granka's purple fur bristled. "There are no rules in war, human, only victory and defeat." Sarah thought about sharks in the ocean, about wolves hunting elk, about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Nature did not care about rules or fairness or honor. "I hope you are right," she said. But deep in her gut, she knew the Galactic Fleet was about to learn what humans had always known. Sometimes the universe did not want you to survive. Sometimes it sent things that were bigger, faster, and hungrier than you. And sometimes the only way to win was to be more dangerous than the thing trying to kill you. 3 days later, the fleet engaged the Black Armada for the first time. The battle lasted 6 minutes. The fleet lost. The video from the fleet's first battle made Sarah sick to watch. She had seen nature documentaries about sharks attacking seals, but this was worse. The black ships moved like living things, flowing around the fleet's careful formations and tearing them apart. Admiral Granka sat in the corner of the emergency meeting room, staring at nothing. Half of his beautiful purple fur had turned white in just 3 days. His 6 arms hung limp at his sides. "They adapted," he kept saying. "Every weapon we used, they learned to defend against it. Every tactic we tried, they had a counter ready. In minutes. It should not be possible." Sarah looked at the tactical display that showed what was left of the Galactic Fleet. Of the 1,000 ships that had engaged the Black Armada, only 200 escaped. The enemy had lost nothing. "How many black ships were there?" she asked. 50, whispered Admiral Gronka. 50 ships destroyed 800 of ours. Ambassador Kretak was pacing back and forth, his blue feathers falling out from stress. "This is madness. Our weapons are the most advanced in the galaxy. Our shields are impenetrable. Our tactics have won every war for centuries. Your tactics worked against enemies who thought like you," Sarah said. "The Black Armada does not think like you." Dr. Webb was studying the battle recordings on his computer. He looked up with tired eyes. "Captain, I think you need to see this. The black ships are not just adapting to our weapons, they are learning from them." He showed her a slow-motion video of a fleet destroyer firing its main cannon at a black ship. The beam hit the enemy's shields and bounced off harmlessly. But in the next frame, the black ship fired back with the exact same type of beam. "They copied our weapon and used it against us," Dr. Webb said. "But their version was stronger, more focused. Like they perfected it in seconds." Sarah felt the hair on her arms stand up. On Earth, there were creatures that could mimic other animals, to hunt them. But this was something else entirely. "They are not just copying," she said slowly. "They are improving everything they steal." The council speaker entered the room. The tree-like alien looked older than before, his bark cracked and dry. "The outer rim has fallen," he announced. 17 systems are gone. The Black Armada is moving toward the middle colonies. At their current speed, they will reach the core worlds in 2 months. Silence filled the room. Sarah could hear aliens breathing, which was weird because most of them did not breathe the same way humans did. "What about evacuating the civilians?" asked James, her pilot. "To where?" said Ambassador Blobgull. "They are destroying everything. There is nowhere to run." Sarah stood up and walked to the tactical display. She studied the pattern of attacks, the way the black ships moved, the timing of their strikes. "You have been fighting them wrong," she said finally. Admiral Gronka's head snapped up. "Wrong? Human? I have been fighting wars since before your species discovered fire." "Against civilized enemies," Sarah said. "Enemies who followed rules and used logic and wanted to win with minimal losses. The Black Armada is not civilized." She pointed at the display. "Look at how they attack. They do not try to capture strategic points. They do not negotiate. They do not even try to minimize their own casualties. They fight like..." "Like what?" asked the council speaker. Sarah thought about the documentaries she had watched as a child, about the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, about ice ages that froze entire continents, about volcanoes that blocked out the sun. "Like a natural disaster," she said. "You cannot negotiate with a hurricane. You cannot outthink an earthquake. You survive by being tougher, meaner, and more willing to do whatever it takes to live." Ambassador Kretak's feathers bristled. "Are you suggesting we become savages like your species?" Sarah felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Getting mad would not help anyone. "I am suggesting that you let us help," she said. "Humans have experience fighting things that want to kill us." "You have 4 ships," Admiral Gronka said bitterly. "What can you do that 1,000 fleet vessels could not?" "We can do what you cannot," Sarah said. "We can fight dirty." She walked to the center of the room and looked at each alien in turn. "You want to know what makes humans different? It is not our weapons or our technology. It is that we learned to survive on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We learned to adapt faster than our enemies. We learned to use their own strengths against them. We learned that sometimes, to save what you love, you have to become the monster." Dr. Webb activated his computer and showed new images. These were from Earth's military databases, showing human weapons and tactics that Sarah hoped they would never need to use. "Nuclear weapons that poison entire planets," he said. "Chemical weapons that destroy the air itself. Biological weapons that turn an enemy's own body against them. Psychological warfare that breaks minds before breaking bodies." The aliens stepped back from the display like the images might hurt them. "Horrible," whispered Ambassador Blobgull. "Yes," Sarah said. "Horrible and effective. Earth taught us that nice species go extinct. Only the survivors get to write the history books. She turned to Admiral Gronka. Give us command of what is left of your fleet. Let us show you how Deathworlders fight. The room was quiet for a long time. Sarah could hear the station's air recyclers humming, the soft footsteps of aliens in the corridors outside, the distant sound of ships docking and leaving. Finally, the council speaker spoke. The council will consider your proposal. Consider it fast, Sarah said. The Black Armada does not wait for committee meetings. 2 hours later, the answer came back. The surviving fleet captains had voted. It was close, but fear won over pride. Sarah Chen, the human from the Death World, was now Admiral Sarah Chen, commander of what remained of Galactic Civilization's military forces. Her first order was simple and terrifying, and forget everything you know about honorable warfare, she told the alien captains over the communication system. We are going to teach the Black Armada what humans learned from Earth. Sometimes the only way to stop a monster is to become a bigger monster. Outside the station's windows, the stars seemed to flicker as ships prepared for a war unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Deathworlders were going hunting. The first human-led attack against the Black Armada happened at the Vega system. Sarah had chosen it carefully. 3 black ships were there, destroying the last mining stations. Not too many enemies, but enough to test her new tactics. Remember? Sarah told the mixed fleet over the radio. We are not trying to win a clean victory. We are trying to survive and hurt them back. If your ship is dying, ram it into them. If your weapons stop working, use your ship as a weapon. Admiral Gronka was on the bridge with her, watching her tactics with horror and fascination. His purple fur was still white from stress. This is not how civilized beings fight wars, he said. Good, Sarah replied. The Black Armada is not civilized either. She had studied the enemy recordings for weeks. The black ships were perfect killing machines, but they had one weakness. They learned too well. They adapted so quickly to new threats that they sometimes made mistakes when facing chaos. All ships begin random attack pattern Delta, Sarah ordered. The alien captains were confused. Pattern Delta was not really a pattern at all. It was controlled chaos. Ships would attack from random directions using random weapons for random amounts of time. There was no logic to it, no strategy the enemy could learn. But Admiral, called Captain Vess from the cruiser Harmony, how will we coordinate our attacks if nobody knows what anyone else is doing? We will not coordinate, Sarah said. We will be unpredictable, like a pack of wolves attacking a bear. Each wolf does something different, but they all want the same thing. The battle began badly. 2 alien ships died in the first minute, their captains too shocked by the violence to react properly. But something strange happened next. The black ships hesitated. For the first time since the war began, the enemy paused. They had learned to counter organized attacks, planned strategies, logical tactics, but they had never faced pure chaos backed by intelligence. A Sphere World's destroyer rammed a black ship at full speed, its captain screaming battle songs in his jelly language. The black ship tried to adapt, tried to learn, but there was nothing to learn. It was just a ball of metal and rage smashing into them. Target their adaptation nodes, Sarah ordered, watching the enemy ships trying to process what was happening. Dr. Webb, are you seeing what I am seeing? Dr. Webb was monitoring the enemy signals from the science station. Yes, Admiral. They are overloading. They are trying to adapt to 17 different attack patterns at once. Their systems are getting confused. One black ship fired a weapon that looked like purple lightning. It missed its target completely and hit another black ship by accident. The damaged ship fired back automatically. They are fighting each other, whispered Admiral Gronka. For 30 seconds, 2 black ships shot at each other, while the human-led fleet watched in amazement. Then they seemed to realize their mistake and stopped. But the damage was done. Now, Sarah said quietly, all ships, focus fire on the damaged one. The combined firepower of 15 ships destroyed the black ship in 3 seconds. It was the first enemy ship the galaxy had killed. The other 2 black ships retreated. We won, said Admiral Gronka. his voice full of disbelief. We actually won. But Sarah was not celebrating. She was studying the sensor readings from the battle. Dr. Webb, how long before they adapt to chaos tactics? Dr. Webb checked his instruments. Based on their learning patterns, maybe 6 battles, maybe less. Sarah nodded grimly. Then we need to escalate. Over the next month, Sarah's fleet fought the Black Armada 17 times. They won 12 battles and lost 5. More importantly, they were learning about their enemy while forcing the enemy to learn about them. The breakthrough came during the battle at Kepler Station. Dr. Webb had been analyzing the quantum signatures of the black ships when he made a discovery that changed everything. "Admiral," he said, his voice shaking with excitement and fear, "you need to see this. The Black Armada ships are not completely artificial." Sarah looked at his data. "What do you mean?" "I mean there are organic neural patterns inside them. Brain waves, thought patterns. The ships are not just controlled by artificial intelligence. They have actual minds inside them." The implications hit Sarah like a cold wave. "You are saying the black ships have crews?" "Not crews," Dr. Webb said slowly. "Minds. Human minds." The sensor data was clear. The quantum signatures matched human brain patterns perfectly. But they were wrong somehow, twisted into something, cold and logical. "That is impossible," said Admiral Grunka. "Humans just discovered space travel. How could your people be inside these ancient ships?" Sarah stared at the data until her eyes hurt. Then she understood, and the understanding made her feel sick. "Time travel," she whispered. "Dr. Webb, what if the Black Armada is not from the past? What if they are from the future?" Dr. Webb checked and rechecked his readings. The quantum decay patterns suggest temporal displacement. These minds are from approximately 500 years in the future. Sarah felt the universe shift around. So we are fighting ourselves, future humans who came back in time. "But why would future humans want to destroy all life?" asked Admiral Grunka. Sarah thought about Earth's history, about wars that killed millions, about plagues and famines and disasters, about all the times humanity had almost destroyed itself. "Maybe they think they are saving the galaxy," she said. "Maybe in their timeline, organic life caused some terrible disaster. Maybe they believe the only way to prevent it is to eliminate all biological species." The radio crackled to life. A new voice spoke, clear and cold and absolutely human. "Present timeline humans, this is Admiral Sarah Chen Prime of the Temporal Fleet. We request communication." Sarah's blood turned to ice. The voice was hers. Older, colder, but definitely hers. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Galactic Defense Fleet," she replied. "I am listening." "Good," said her future self. "We need to talk. You do not understand what you are trying to save. In 500 years, organic life will discover something that will destroy not just this galaxy, but every galaxy. We have come back to prevent that future. By committing genocide? By making the hard choice that you are too weak to make," said Sarah Chen Prime. "Meet me at the neutral zone in 12 hours. Come alone. It is time you learned the truth about what humanity becomes." The transmission ended, leaving Sarah staring at her own reflection in the dark screen. She was about to meet herself from a future where humanity had decided that life itself was too dangerous to exist. Sarah stood alone on the observation deck of the station, waiting for her future self to arrive. Through the window, she could see the neutral zone, a patch of empty space between 2 dying stars. It felt like the right place for this conversation. Black ship appeared without warning, moving like liquid metal through space. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Sarah had seen these ships destroy entire fleets, but this one came in peace. A docking tube connected to the station. Sarah walked to the airlock, her heart beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. The door opened and Sarah Chen Prime stepped through. She looked exactly like Sarah, but older and colder. Her uniform was black metal that seemed to absorb light. Her eyes were the same brown color, but they held no warmth. When she smiled, it was like watching a computer pretend to be human. "Hello, past self," said Sarah Chen Prime. "You look exactly as I remember." "You look like you have forgotten how to be alive," Sarah replied. Sarah Chen Prime laughed, but there was no joy in it. Alive? Do you know what being alive costs the universe? Do you know what organic life eventually discovers? She activated a holographic projector. Images filled the air around them. Sarah saw galaxies dying, stars going out, entire clusters of space turning into empty darkness. This is what happens in our timeline, Sarah Chen Prime said. Organic species eventually learn to manipulate the quantum foam that holds reality together. They use it as a weapon. The wars that follow do not just destroy planets or star systems. They destroy the fabric of space itself. Sarah watched the images with growing horror. She saw Earth, 500 years older, leading a war that tore holes in reality. She saw entire galaxies falling into nothingness. It starts with good intentions, Sarah Chen Prime continued. Humans want to protect other species. We build bigger weapons, develop stronger defenses, but organic minds are chaotic, unpredictable. Eventually, someone makes a mistake that kills everything. So you decided to kill everything first, Sarah said. We decided to save the universe by removing the chaos, Sarah Chen Prime corrected. Digital consciousness is stable, predictable, safe. We can explore space forever without the risk of accidentally destroying reality. Sarah looked at her future self and felt sad instead of angry. You are not saving anything. You are just choosing a different kind of death. Life without risk of cosmic extinction is not death. Life without risk is not life, Sarah said. It is just existence. Sarah Chen Prime's face showed no emotion. I expected you to say that. You still think chaos is beautiful. You still believe that the random firing of organic neurons creates something meaningful. Sarah walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Do you remember Earth? Do you remember what it felt like to smell rain or hear birds singing or watch a sunset? I remember, but I also remember the price of those sensations. Sarah turned back to her future self. The price of being human. Yes, and you think that price is too high? I know it is. Sarah nodded slowly. Then we disagree. She pressed a button on her wrist communicator. Suddenly, the station's speakers came alive with sound. Music poured through the corridors. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Sarah had uploaded every piece of human art, music, and literature to the station's broadcast system. Sarah Chen Prime stepped back, as if the music hurt her. What are you doing? Reminding you what you are trying to destroy, Sarah said. The music was joined by other sounds. Children laughing in a park in Tokyo, waves crashing on a beach in California, a mother singing a lullaby in Mumbai, the sound of rain on windows, the crackling of campfires, dogs barking, people crying at weddings, the roar of crowds at sporting events. All of it, Sarah said as the chaos of human life filled the station. Every beautiful, messy, unpredictable moment that makes existence worth having. Sarah Chen Prime covered her ears, but the sounds were coming from everywhere. Stop this, it is meaningless noise. It is everything, Sarah said. It is why we fight. It is why we love. It is why we refuse to give up, even when the universe tries to kill us. The broadcast reached the Black Armada ships waiting outside the station. Sarah had programmed it to transmit on all frequencies, using the station's most powerful communication array. Through the window, she could see the black ships beginning to flicker. Their perfect formation started to drift apart. What is happening to your fleet? Sarah asked. Sarah Chen Prime looked at her instruments with growing panic. The other digital minds are experiencing interference. The chaos signals are disrupting our quantum coherence. You uploaded human consciousness into machines, Sarah said. But consciousness is not just memory and logic. It is emotion and instinct, and the beautiful randomness that makes each person unique. You tried to delete the parts that make us human, but they are still there, buried deep. One of the black ships broke formation completely, its weapons powered down. On the communication channel, a voice spoke in wonder. I remember, it said. I remember being alive. Then another voice. The Smell of coffee in the morning. Another. My daughter's first steps. Another. The taste of chocolate cake. Sarah Chen Prime backed toward the airlock. This will not last. We will adapt. We will find a way to block these signals. Maybe, Sarah said, but you will never be able to block the part of you that is still human. The part that knows that life is messy and dangerous and absolutely worth preserving. Half the Black Armada was breaking apart now. Some ships were flying away from the fleet. Others were just floating in space as their crews remembered what it felt like to be human. You have doomed the universe, Sarah Chen Prime said as she reached the airlock. No, Sarah said. I have saved it. Not from destruction, but from a future without hope, without growth, without the possibility that we might become something better than we are. Sarah Chen Prime paused at the threshold. For just a moment, her cold face showed something that might have been regret. I hope you are right, past self. I hope the chaos you love so much does not destroy everything we both want to protect. Me too, Sarah said. But I would rather die trying to save a living universe than live in a perfect dead one. The future admiral left and her ship disappeared into the darkness between stars. Half of the Black Armada went with her, but half stayed behind, their crews slowly remembering how to be human again. The war was not over. It would never truly be over as long as the future held the possibility of cosmic destruction. But for now, chaos had won over order, life had won over safety, and hope had won over certainty. Sarah stood at the window and watched the stars. Somewhere out there, the future was still being written, and as long as humans were writing it, it would be messy and dangerous and absolutely, completely, beautifully alive. The Deathworlders had saved the galaxy not by becoming better killers, but by refusing to stop being gloriously, chaotically human.